Just imagine you've been walking for weeks, hundreds of miles across the mountains, over the plains, and suddenly you walk into Leon Cathedral and your spirits start soaring. My guide here is Lourdes Ruiz. Lourdes, I feel I've seen something like this before, a sense of déjà vu. It's a bit French, isn't it?
Yes, French people designed this cathedral. They started it at the beginning of the 13th century. So inside it's very similar to Chartres, and the outside very similar to Notre Dame. And here you can see the best collection of medieval windows in Spain, and the second in Europe. This cathedral in many, many places, you can see number 3. They've got 3 naves, 3 big rose windows, and the windows have got 3 parts. Very symbolic.
Now, I arrived by car, of course, but I've just met Theo, who's a real pilgrim. Theo, you're about to walk from here to Santiago de Compostela?
Yes, I'm on the way with a group, and we have a project that from Switzerland, we reach Santiago within 6 years. And we do one part of the way each year.
That's an amazing endeavour. But look, I'm heading west as well. I've got a car. Do you want a lift?
No thanks. I've got my feet.
He's a very good pilgrim. Whether you're a pilgrim with a purpose or a weekender on a whim, the advice is the same. Go west. This must be one of the loveliest drives in the whole of Spain. I've entered the Valley of Silence, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The River Osa down to one side, a wall of rock to the other, beautiful trees everywhere. De el Valle de Silencio salen canciones. From the Valley of Silence, songs rise. And it's certainly enough to make your heart sing. Now, the entire province of Leon is basically one big park, but this is my favourite nook, the tumble-down village of Valdefrancos. And starting point for a lovely valley walk with just you and the river and the silence. Now, I've never had brunch anywhere quite like this before, but then I've never had brunch in a palace before. The Palacio de Canedo is a restaurant, it's somewhere you can stay, and it's a working winery. From the balcony you can see more or less forever, but you can't see any tourists. Of course, if you've had more than just a sip of wine, you really shouldn't drive immediately, so you might just want to see if this room's available for a bit of a lie down. Now, if I particularly enjoyed a wine, I'd really like to take a little bit of it back, just as a memory of the trip. For pilgrims, it's a tough 2-day hike from Leon to the ancient town of Astorga. But luckily, it's less than an hour by car, and as they say, well worth a detour. Just as Canterbury is so important to England, so Astorga is to Spain. And, I must say, just a little bit warmer. Now, to try to make some sense of this cultural paella, I've been joined by Felipe, who is the top guide to Astorga. Why have we started here, Felipe?
We have here a Roman house, very close to the center of the town, and it was a very rich family that lives here.
And they built a beautiful glass house to cover it up.
Yes, it is covered to protect this part of the city.
So, highlight number 2, and we're at the cathedral. one thing I don't understand, Astorga is a small town. Why has it got such a vast cathedral?
Astorga was a very big city in the 3rd century.
3rd century?
3rd century, yes. And so we have a very big cathedral, beginning Gothic style, but very, very slowly. So we have this Baroque style facade. This is the very special style.
Felipe, for the 3rd cultural highlight, you brought me here to something which I imagine is the work of that well-known artist, Walt Disney.
No Disney. We have a Bishop Palace built for Antonio Gaudí. And why Gaudí came in Astorga? Because the bishop at this time was of Catalonia.
So there was a Catalan bishop who said, "Oi, Antoni Gaudí, come here and build me a palace."
Yes, this was the story.
Felipe, thank you so much for showing me how culturally intense Astorga is. When you hear the word culture, do you think, actually, I'd much rather have a bit of chocolate? Well, you're in the right place. In 1519, Hernán Cortés became the first European to discover chocolate, and within a couple of centuries, Astorga had cornered the market in the stuff. Even a century ago, there were 50 factories in the town, and this celebrates it. It's the Museum of Chocolate. Best of all, at the end of your visit, you're invited to sample the stuff from 11 different varieties, from 90% cocoa all the way down to extra fine. 53%. And exquisite. Una tableta, por favor. 53. The raw rocks of the mountains, the soft stone of the churches, and layer after layer of history combine to make Leon, both the city and the province, a compelling, monumental destination. Yet, for the vast majority of visitors to Spain, it's off the map, which gives it a kind of purity of character that's, frankly, seductive. So, my advice, let yourself go, and go to Leon. Back on the Via Principalis, and here's they've all gone. Sorry. For pilgrims, it's a tough 2-day hark the herald angels sing.